So please accept the pop-up, and let's get started from the beginning. Welcome to the optional lecture number 2, the Rtn matrix. As Dina already mentioned the concept, so we can go a little bit quicker. The Rtn matrix is a table that cross-references the business requirements and the functional requirements in order to test every combination possible that can be done inside the system or application. Because this concept is too vague, and now we are mentioning a new kind of requirement, the business requirement, let's take a couple of minutes to make sure that everybody understands the concepts. I would like to share one link, and I will put it in the document in the Slack channel as well. This one has a nice explanation and comparison between the business requirement and functional requirements. This web page puts the business requirement and the functional requirements at the same level of hierarchy. But to be honest, when I learned these requirements in this way, for me, it was harder. So for me, my personal recommendation is that if you visualize the requirements in this way, like the business requirement is a broad feature that a client needs, formulated in a natural language. It's easy to understand, because after that, I can break it down a business requirement into something more specific. On the left, the functional requirements, and on the right, the non-functional requirements. So when a client says, I need an application that can share photos, I'm speaking of super broad. That means it can be either Facebook, it can be Instagram, and even Twitter fits in that criteria. But by making breaking down into more specific requirements, we can go into detail and learn which kind of application is this one. For example, we need to allow the clients to upload pictures from a low resolution camera and apply a filter to make them more beautiful. Okay, now we are talking about either a functional or non-functional requirement. Uploading pictures from a camera, functional requirement. Make the pictures beautiful sounds like a non-functional requirement, but at least we are getting there. And now we understand that we are not talking about Twitter, because Twitter doesn't have these features. Facebook didn't used to have that ones. So I think that this chart, I will pass the slides at the end, so you don't need to take a screenshot, will make it easy to understand the difference between business requirement and functional and non-functional requirements. And the best way to learn and differentiate these ones is by making an example. So let's start with this one. I want that somebody tell me the first one. Do you think it's a business requirement, a functional requirement, or a non-functional requirement? Functional. Let's say functional. Why do you think is the mansion needs a garden is a functional?
Because it needs to be like built or designed inside the mansion.
Okay, but don't you think that is a little bit too broad?
Well, it's a garden. They don't specify like how many trees or flowers or whatever.
Yeah, but let's read the 5 bullet points. Okay, maybe that was my bad. Let's read the first bullet point out loud without saying if this is a one kind of requirement. So let's say number 1 is the mansion needs a garden. Okay. The second one is giving me a little bit more detail. The garden must be 40 square meters long. The third one says the garden must contain only red flowers. The garden must have a road made of rocks in the middle. And finally, the garden must look elegant. So we can see that some of them are more specific than the other ones. So based on that detail, we can start learning that maybe the business requirements are broad, and the functional and non-functional requirements are a little bit more specific. Yet, the non-functional requirements are a little bit vague enough to make this a little bit more confusing. So, based on this information, do you want to try again the first one, Mossad?
Well, I still stand by my choice.
Okay, I respect that one. But for me, if a project is designing a house in general, for me, the first one will be a business requirement. Because if we're building a mansion, We say the mansion needs a garden. Okay, that's important. That's what the business, or in this case, the client wants. But it's still too broad. I still cannot visualize how the garden must look, because I understand that you need a garden, but I still don't have enough information to be able to design the garden. I need more information. In this case, now I can see that the other ones are a little bit more specific. So let's go to
I agree. Yeah, but because I thought I should choose between functional and non-functional. I didn't think about business.
Oh yeah, no, that's why we are in this part. Now we are gonna check if with each sentence is either a business, a functional, or a non-functional requirement. And as I mentioned, the best way to determine if one element is one of the three is this super mega hyper broad? It's probably a business requirement. If it's super specific, and you can see that it's something that I actually understand that is static and specific enough, it's probably a functional requirement. If it's more specific than a business requirement, yet I cannot still like put details into this particular requirement, then it's a non-functional. And don't worry, by checking the examples, and we're gonna make not one but two examples, we're gonna start with getting comfortable detecting the difference between the three. So
sorry to interrupt. I have a doubt. So which is not specific, it can be a non-functional requirement, right?
Yeah, and we're gonna see once that we solve the examples, we're gonna start making the connections between the three ones. So don't worry, we're gonna see that, and then we're gonna do a second example. Let's hope that by the second one we actually agree in the terms. So we know that the first one is a business requirement. Can somebody try to guess the second one, if this is a functional, a non-functional, or a business requirement?
Functional.
Functional. Do everybody agrees, or do somebody says that it's different and they can defend their argument? No one? Okay, then let's see the result.
I would say business requirement.
You said that it was a what?
Sorry, my mic's very bad on this. I said it was a business requirement. Because for me, it's still quite, it is focused, but it is still a little bit broad.
Yeah, okay, that's a valid argument. I will defend that even if I still don't know how the garden looks like, at least if I, can you see my webcam? Can you see my webcam? Just now?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I can start, or even better, I don't need to use the webcam. I can use a graphic design software. By using that requirement, and unfortunately I showcased the answers for a second, but don't worry. By having this 40 meters long, I start square meters. I can start tracing a square, and I can say that we have a specific detail. Now we know that it's 40 meters. That's 39. Let me go. 40. I don't know still how the garden looks gonna look, but at least I can now learn how big the garden it is. So at least I start imagining at least the space. It's not much information, but at least it's a head start, because we went from having a garden, that's it, and now we know how big the garden is. We don't know how we're gonna fill the garden yet, but at least we now have a specific size. We know that the client wants this particular size of garden. So with that information, I will agree with the rest of the participants that this one is a functional requirement. Now, let's read the next one. It says the garden must contain only red flowers. So we cannot use sunflowers, we cannot use lilas, we cannot use cotton or any kind of flowers. It only can contain red flowers. It doesn't mean that it only needs to be roses, but we can only put red flowers. Anyone wants to try what kind of requirement is this one?
Functional.
Functional. Somebody has a different opinion, and it's okay. We can argument about this one. It's okay. And let me tell you something. When you have a list of 40 requirements, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 40 or 100, and if you given them to 3 specialized project managers, each with more than 10 years of experience, I can guarantee you that the 3 lists will not be 100% identical, because there is, unfortunately, there is perceptions, and people sometimes can perceive something as one way or another. If you give them 3 project managers a list of 4 or 5 requirements, yes, it's probably that the 3 will agree in the 5 terms. But if you give them a list with 100, I swear that you will not get the correct results. Maybe the first 80 are the same, but they will have between 10 to 20 that start to differentiate between each other. So don't worry, don't feel frustrated if the answer doesn't agree with what you think. But by giving more examples, you will practice and practice, and you will start getting more comfortable with this. So let's go with the next one. The garden must have a rock made of rocks in the middle. It doesn't say what kind of rocks, but at least we know that we don't want to use dirt or concrete. We need to use rocks in the road, and we know that we have the road is not anywhere; it's right in the middle. Is this a functional, a non-functional, or a business requirement? Who wants to try something that somebody that doesn't that has answered before? Because we have like 34 students. Yadish, for example.
Yes, it's a functional requirement.
Okay. Do somebody that has a different opinion, that has given opinion before, wants to say something else in case that you believe that is different?
It might be a business requirement. It looks the same language as the first one.
It must be also a functional requirement, the first part, and the second part, non-functional requirement.
Yeah, I agree with Cosmin, because it doesn't say like.
Can you go again, Cosmin? Okay, that's interesting. I want to hear about this one. Can you go again?
Yeah. So the garden must have a road. It is definitely a functional requirement, because it answered to the question what system must do. So it's something. And the second part, made of rocks in the middle. And this is something that for me, it's how well it must perform. This for me is the non-functional part.
But we didn't say that. For me, in the middle is a specific direction. Okay, maybe we don't know if and we don't know if this is going to be horizontal or vertical. I give you that one, but we are giving a specific coordinate. If we said the garden must have a road, and then we don't have the exact coordinate of where to put the road.
The garden must have a road in the middle, and that part made of rocks. It's not functional requirement. So that part made of rocks is like a description of how, that part is non-functional. So.
Okay, I actually agree that we could split these ones in 2 elements. I will give you that one. But if we only maintain it as a single sentence, and you need to vote between 1 or 2, which one will you pick? But I agree that we probably need to split this one with more time. I actually have revised this one and split it. I will split it in 2. But if we cannot, for some reason, we cannot split it, and we just need to choose between one element, which one you will think that is most closely related?
Thank you for the question. I will go for functional requirement.
Okay, perfect. But it was a valid request, because as you can see, this one is the longest of the 5 elements. So yeah, this one can be a little bit tricky. And don't worry, even when a client is thinking about something specific, he might write stuff in a non-specific way. Yes, this is where the part that even three experienced project managers may disagree. So this is where the confusion starts. So don't worry, it's totally valid to feel like that. But yeah, in this case, we believe that these phrases can be combined into one, and it will be closer to a functional requirement. Nice one, nice catch. And the last one, somebody else wants to try, is this is a business requirement, a functional requirement, or a non-functional requirement? Okay, Janko raises his hand.
Yeah, it's a non-functional requirement. Because it's
Or
not
no,
specific.
before
Okay.
it's not specific. Okay, that's a valid answer. I still will not show the answer. Once somebody wants to say is different, somebody wants to argue against. We have a nice argument, by the way. I really like that one. It makes us think. So if somebody has a different argument, I still haven't shown the answer. So we still don't know if Janko is right or wrong. So I see somebody saying functional, but I don't know in the chat because I cannot see my I cannot see the clock. So
Yeah,
okay, go.
I believe it might be a business requirement. I think Yash as well, and Kavya says it's functional.
Yeah, it's functional because it is also a must. It's also a requirement. They're asking the garden must look elegant. So in that way, I'm telling it's a functional.
Okay, Janko, you would like to counter argument about that one?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I don't know how to do it. It's not specific. Okay, it will be. It must look elegant, and then put red roses all over the place. That would be a specific. That would be a function.
We already did that in the earlier. Garden must be 40 square. Garden must contain red flowers. We already did that one.
Exactly.
And
That's specifics how it should look and what you should do with the garden. That's why it's functional. That's why those are functional. But this is like. Okay, in the end, it has to look elegant, but it's nothing specific how to make it unless you make all these functional requirements before, and I guess then it would look elegant then. Or
yeah, remember the requirements can be in different order. So it doesn't mean that I put this one and last one because it's less important. Imagine that we're playing a video game and the requirements each time I press play appear in different orders. So don't base.
Yeah, let me try this. It's look elegant. It is subjective. It's not.
That was the word I was looking for. Correct. The problem that is elegant is it cannot be a functional because imagine that we're coding. Imagine that we're an architect and the client says you need to build a garden in an elegant way. Okay, your definition of elegant, elegant is different than mine. Maybe for you, the red roses that is in the picture is super elegant. But maybe I am a fucking robot, and for me, instead of being romantic or elegant, it's fucking tacky. Like, shit, this looks disgusting. Your definition of elegant is valid. So, for example, if for you this picture in the right is pretty or beautiful, it's okay. But for me, maybe it's too tacky. I don't know. Maybe it's because I hate romance or something like that. I'm just plain evil, whatever. So for me, instead of being elegant, it's tacky, it's coarse, something like that. And it's not specific. So that's why I will say that this one in particular is a non-functional requirement. Okay, let's move to a different example. We're gonna keep practices over and over until I cannot say until everybody's on the same page, but at least let's see if we can actually get more consensus this time around. Somebody that we are again making this mansion as a project. Sorry, that's something I didn't mention before. We're making the mansion as a project. We're continuing with this project. Somebody that has spoken before wants to go first. Oh no, let's read first all the requirements because I don't want the answer in a vacuum. I want to read all the requirements. We'll be closer to read the case study before we go into details. So the first one says the doors must be electronic and non mechanical. The second requirement says the door must be opened with a remote control, and there is a dot missing there. The house or mansion, the mansion must have a garage. The garage must be tidy. This picture definitely is not tidy, but it's a reference. And finally, the garage must be at least big enough to fit 2 Ford F-150. So we read the requirements and let's go with the first one. Somebody wants to raise their hands and go first. That has spoken before. Janko, you already did one and you did a good job. So you can survive this one. Sanjina, you actually already counter-refuted that one. It was a nice argument. So I will give the prize to somebody else. In this case, Raunisa did raise their hands first before Lubot. So you will go in the second one, Lubot. So Rawunisa, go ahead. First one.
Yeah, the door must be electronic, not mechanical. So we have a specific task here. It's electronic. So I feel it is a functional requirement.
Okay.
It should be electronic. Yes.
Okay.
It should be electronic.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, you're right. If somebody wants to argue about against this one, please go ahead. This is the moment.
Already we have the answer.
I think it's a business requirement. It doesn't say which door should be electronic or mechanical. If it says the entrance door should be mechanical, it is a functional requirement. But for me, I think it's a business requirement.
A nice catch, and I will defend it in this way. Even if we don't know which door it is, forget about the picture on the right. Let's say, and this is a nice catch because this is something that sometimes happens in real case studies. So congratulations for raising this concern. This, I swear to God that this actually happens in real case studies. Like the client sends you an email and he tells us stuff like this. This is super specific, but without reading the other 5, we still don't. Let's say that we only read the first requirement and we don't know the other 4. Which door is this one? You're totally right. You're totally right. We don't know for which door it belongs. Is this for a kitchen? Maybe it's still a garden. Maybe the garden needs a door. Why not? But it's specific. It says it needs to be electronic. So even if we don't know what for which use, where we're going to use the door, at least we know that we need an electronic door, and it's still specific. But you catch something really, really, really important in this one, because we don't know where we're gonna use this door. So this is a nice catch, but it's still specific enough to be a functional one. So let's move to the next one. Lubot, you already raised your hand, so this will be all yours.
Do you hear me? But first, I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
So you basically telling that business requirement can be any. We can call it business requirement if a customer actually says that, right? Like, what if a customer is more specific? It still will be business requirement, right?
Once the client goes into details, it becomes a functional requirement.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah, if this is broad, let's go again with the example of a man. We are building a mansion. So we are building a mansion. Just like Ava said, we don't know where this door goes. So that's a valid concern. Like, okay, the client is asking us for an electronic door, but he doesn't tell us where the hell we want, where he wants the door. But it's specific because it says that it's electronic. So, okay, this means that you and Abbas raise a valid concern. If I read this specific requirement in isolation, my first question to the client will be, where do you want this door? I will not say, which brand of electronic door do you want? Do you want a multi-lock, an electronic door made by Tesla or by IBM? My first question will be, where the hell do you want that door? Because yes, it's crucial. I'm missing a lot of information here, but it's super specific yet. So yeah, I would raise my first concern like that. And
but then the same can go for the second example, because it's still about the door. Well, it is some specific door, the door, but
it might be the same door or maybe another door, by the way.
but if it was written, the garage door must be open with a remote control, then it would be just a functional requirement, right?
And if it doesn't have the word garage, is it still a functional requirement or not?
Well, if to judge by our conversation about the first point, then well, it still looks functional because it's there is a device that mentioned even what can be used for, like so it answers the question how to do something. So, but yeah, we should know what is this door, of course. So,
but
well, it is a specific. I think it's functional. Okay.
It's functional, correct. It is functional. Now, who wants to go with the third one? I saw Natalia first. Janko, remember, you already answered, and you super defend your answer super well. So I will not give you a new opportunity. So Natalia, that was the first one that I saw.
Yeah, the third one, right?
Uh-huh.
The house must have a garage. That's a business requirement.
Business requirements. Okay, perfect. And I saw Susanna. Can you raise your hand? Yeah, perfect. Go with the next one.
The garage must be tidy. Right. Actually, it's similar to the previous example. Like the garden must be elegant. So it goes with the non-functional.
Okay, somebody wants to argue against? Somebody thinks that is the opposite? It can, well, not the opposite, because it can be a business requirement as well. Do somebody? No, none. I see non-functional. Looks like everybody agrees with you. So let me see. Yeah, you're right. And the last one, I wrote it in a little bit a tricky way on purpose. So who wants to go? Raise your hand. Somebody that haven't answered before. Yashwini. Sorry, I am super butchering your.
Yashaswini.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
No worries. I think that this is a business requirement because even though it's very specific that it should fit at least 2 Ford F-150s, but it says that it should be at least, it doesn't say how big it can go. So there is no limit on how big the garage can go. And because of that, it's not very specific.
Yeah, okay, now we're talking. Okay, I will let you argue about this one. And in fact, now that you raised this concern that when I wrote it, I forget about this typical detail. Even if I have an answer in the PowerPoint slide, if people are giving a really nice reason, I'm willing to admit a mistake and I will change the one that I have in the PowerPoint slide. So you say that is a business requirement. Somebody wants to say something else? Okay, this got funny now. I really like it. Clement says that it's a functional. Can you say why?
Yeah, because you can know the size of that Ford F-150 somewhere.
How? I don't know. I don't know how big is a Ford F-150.
Ah, okay. Well, let's say 2.5.
Be confident. You were so confident. You say that you can get the information.
Yeah, because like it's an information that is like you can find somewhere easily by Googling 1 minute, and then it's size that you give as a constraint. So I see that's functional.
And how do you Google the 2 Ford F-50? Do you really believe that Google has information about the size of 2 Ford F-50? Can you really Google 2 Ford F-150? Really?
Does that car exist? If yes, I can. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's tricky. My background is architect, so there is nothing complicated in that case.
No. But I'm questioning you. If you say that you can Google the size of 1 Ford 150,
yeah.
My question is, can you Google how much space take 2 Ford 150?
Yeah. Now.
Exactly.
No.
4.06 meters in width, and
yeah, they exist. So they have
and it's 3.788 meters in length. So you can actually calculate it. But also, which model of Ford F-150? Is it from the 50s? Is it from last year?
Okay, let's say that. Okay, even there in the margin of error, I really think that they're almost in the same size. Okay, maybe the older ones are a little bit bigger, but I think they're almost in the same size to make a non-constraint. But okay, I am still with the question. Okay, I really want to make you think. You have the specification of 1 for 150, but how do you get the calculation for 2?
Me?
Come on.
Well, I don't see the complexity. Okay, you don't know how they park, but you can you can assume that they park side to side, and you put.
Okay, okay, side to side. Okay, then okay.
and space for people to walk and space around and security space. Like it's kind of calculable. You kind of can calculate that by reason.
Okay, Enchilio raised a nice concern. It includes the door spans. Yeah, you can actually measure that as well. You can measure the door size and then include the door span. By the way, to be honest, I was just kidding. I was expecting that somebody just said, take the width and multiply by 2.
No, by 4. Like when it's a surface, you do.
Valid as well. Yeah. So, okay, after this conversation, do you feel comfortable? Let's make a poll. Okay, let me make a poll. This one will be fun. Number 5. Okay, what is happening? Oh, because we are in Europe, I really need to comply with some other pool. There you go. Rick 5. And the option will be, oh my God, it's so hard to make a pulse here. Business, functional, non-functional. Save it. Launch pool. So go ahead. I love how the bars are going. This is super cool. 48% of the people vote. 57. Remember, it's anonymous, so don't be shy. Don't be shy. 75.
Eduardo,
Yeah.
if I could add, I think the key words to that requirement must be at least. It just says at least, so you can go over 3, 4, 5 cars, but at least you must cover a certain value.
Yeah, that's why it become tricky. Yeah, that's why we are voting, exactly because of that. If the requirement said we need to fit 2 for it will be a functional, no questions asked. So I want to see if it will still be a functional one or not. So we still have some votes left. Why people are voting? Remember, this is anonymous. So, and plus, if you made a mistake, it's okay. We're here for learning. So please don't be shy and vote. Okay, we'll close the polls in 1 second. No, I will give you until 1 minute 45. We're about to complete this one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, my answer and my perspective would be, it's a functional requirement, but with a big asterisk. Just like somebody said, at least make it ambiguous. So if I am the project manager, my first question to the client will be, when you mean at least, do you mean that you want to have more than 2 cars, or you mean that you probably want 2 bigger, they may be cars that are even bigger than the Ford 150, like the Hummer. So I will try to convert this one to a functional requirement. So I will literally write an email to the client to ask for clarification, and I will make literally just like I literally made a mistake by writing a list. So I will ask the client, please be more specific. I will send an email about just this particular question, and I will then scratch this one, and I will say most fit the 2 450. So yeah, this was a tricky one. If you actually have a client in front of you, you will actually make this kind of question. So yeah, this was tricky. But what I like about this one is that you went way faster this one in comparison to the garden example. So we are starting to get a little bit more hang on the requirements. So I can make this one that as long as broad, it's probably a business requirement. When it's super specific, it's a functional one. And if it has more details, but it still is something that you cannot put like in specifications, especially in coding, then it's probably a non-functional requirement. So, okay, with this information out of the way.
What are the poll results, Edward?
What, sorry?
Poll results.
I cannot hear you well. Can you go again?
I wish to know the poll results.
Oh, okay. Didn't show it in the screens for real? Okay. In any case, I remember the vote ended at 82%, so not everybody voted. Functional requirement won by it was almost 2/3. Then the second most voted option was the business requirement, and almost nobody wrote a non-functional requirement because I think that everybody got that because you can Google the manufacturer specifications of the 4150, you can at least get the minimal size. So almost nobody wrote both non-functional requirements. The vote was divided between functional and business, but functional won almost 3-1. So yeah, congrats everybody. Without the poll out of the way, oh, by the way, I see a hand raised. Raunisa, that was something that was raised before, or?
Yeah, no, Eduardo, I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why the thing was like the house must have a garage? Why it was a business requirement?
Because
it's due to the.
It's too broad to start to. It's too broad to start planning the specific details. But it's something that we can visualize. A garage can have a size, so it's not functional. It means that it needs to be broken down into more details so we can make the functional and the non-functional requirements. But on the other hand, tidy is a concept. For example, I can consider my desktop tidy because it doesn't have dirt. But I have a paper from 3 days ago. Some people that are super workaholic or especially cleanaholic will say that having an old paper make the desk dirty. Even if this paper is clean, it doesn't have a stain, but somebody will, my concept of tidy is totally different to your concept of tidy. So this is too ambiguous to be either a business requirement or a functional requirement.
Okay, thank you, Eduardo.
No problem. So let me skip this one. So, okay. I hope that you can get practicing because, yeah, it takes practice. Don't worry. Even with the TA, sometimes we get a list of 10 requirements. We get 1 or 2 that people cannot agree on one. And it becomes super nasty. So, yeah, don't worry. It's normal. And it takes practice. And I promise you that even if you have 100 requirements and you put 3 experienced project managers, the more requirements that you have, it's really hard to reach a consensus. So I will give you a small secret of the case study. It's not supposed to be, I should not supposed to give you this tip, but advice, but it's real. Don't get stressed out that, for example, you gather 47 requirements for your particular module, and you reach a consensus between your team about the first 38. And then after a 1 hour discussion, you get maybe 5 more. So you are 42 or 47 requirements that you can agree that what kind of they are. Don't stress out and say, if we don't manage to get an agreement on in the next 5, we're gonna fail the module. No, because even experienced project managers will disagree in a couple of points. It's super normal and it will not break your project. As long as you can get an agreement on most of them, it's okay. But on the other hand, if you cannot agree with at least the 50%, then we have a big problem. But if you have 42 or 47, it's okay. Move on to the next stage because you're learning and even experienced project managers will disagree. So relax about that. So, okay, with this information out of the way, we know that the Rtn matrix is a table. We just waste a lot of time speaking about requirements. So let's see the steps we need to do in order to make a requirement matrix. The first step is to organize information. cheers. Really. You cannot make a project, you cannot be a project manager if you're not organized. You may be a developer, but I swear you that you will not be a project manager if you don't organize your information. If you really hate to organize information, then be a project manager is not a career for you. I can tell you a real story about the SDA. We used to have a really nice platform before the one that you saw beforehand, but it had zero documentation. It was built with a lot of technology. But here the keyword, zero documentation. When a new developer wanted to jump in, it was basically a nightmare to learn how to code it because there was not even a README file to how to install the project in your own computer. So it was a nightmare to the point that the management decided, you know what? It's cheaper to build a new platform than to write down the documentation for this one. Remember the example that Dina said that in her company, they lose money because making the documentation make them waste 1 year. Do you remember that story from Dina 1 year ago, maybe 2 days ago?
The user manuals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that one. I swear that is not a joke. We needed to throw out a platform because it was zero documentation, and the creator of the platform was leaving for another startup. We wish the best for him, of course, but because this was not a contract, it's just an employee, so you cannot sue an employee. It's a different when you sign a contract with a company. You can sue a company, but you cannot sue an employee because it's your fault. It's not the employee's fault. It's your fault for not asking for documentation. We realized that it was faster to throw the entire project to the garbage and move to a new platform than to write the documentation. So I will tell you, this is not a joke. If you don't like to organize information, be a developer, be a graphic designer, but don't be a project manager. So yeah, you know that I make the joke that make a toast each time and take a drink each time I say organize information, but this stuff happens all the time, and this is a real problem. So in any case, let's move on. I see the TAs joking around here, but yeah, this is real. This happens. But let's move to the next point. Make the user and the object tables. I already explained this one in the first optional lecture, but for the people that were not before, a user table is basically after you organize the information, you highlight. I use the color green, but you can use whatever color you want. You can highlight each time that you see a user, for example. It says, the documentation says the technical employee, the customer, the administrator. You highlight it, and then when you finish highlighting your document, you make a table. And this table, we used to say that you put the user and the description. But now we're going to add a column for the ID. And you will see soon why we are not adding, we're making this table a little bit more complex than before. And then you move to the object table. Similar, you put the ID, one column for the ID, one column for the object itself, the name of the object, and then one column for the description. Once you finish this one, we move to the requirement tables, the requirements, and you can see 3 colors now. In the first optional lecture, you saw 2 colors, the red one for the functional and the blue one for the non-functional. But now I'm making a third icon, a dark gray icon for the business requirements. And the business requirements table requires an ID, the requirement itself, the roles involved. This is something new. We want to see, for example, if we are going to say, for example, a login system, which ones use the login? It can be the technical employee, it can be the call handler, it can be the contract handler, or it can be all of them. All of them can log in the platform. And then the description of the business requirement in general. Now, once you finish a table for your business requirements, we can make a table for the functional requirements. And the functional requirements needs a column for an ID, a column for the business ID. Okay, this is new. It's the same ID that is in the previous table. And this is called cross-referencing. If you have experience with SQL or databases, it means that if you want to know this functional requirement belongs to a business requirement, it needs to be linked. And I will go back to this particular one. Remember that. Remember the first example when Abbas was saying, we don't know which this door belongs to. It can belong to the garden. It can belong to the garage. It can belong to a kitchen as well. So we need to tell if we have a table that business requirement. The mansion needs a garden. This is the first business requirement, and the second business requirement is the mansion needs a garage. And then we create a table of functional requirements. And we write a functional requirement. The door must be electronic and non-mechanical, and we know that it's a functional requirement. Just like Abbas mentioned, we don't know to which part of the mansion this door belongs to. So now we need to put, in addition to the functional requirement, we need to put the ID to what business requirement it belongs to, so we can see the connection. Now we'll make an example with a table so you can see it in detail. But now you can see that we need to put to which business requirement it belongs these particular doors to. So let me go quickly. That. And we're going to see an example, as I mentioned. Once we reach this stage, we can move to the next steps. But I think that we can start making an example before we move on, because we have a lot of information. Before I give it more steps, I want to make an example. So let's start making an example here. I will create a spreadsheet. Just give me 1 second. You don't see the spreadsheet yet. I will put it in the screen that you can see. Just give me 1 second. Move to the main monitor. Okay, I use Apple numbers, but you know that you can use Google Spreadsheet. The reason that I prefer to use this one, and I will suggest you, I will not force anybody to use it, but the reason that I really like this one is because I can make 2 tables, and the tables can move around independently. And if I make this table bigger, this neatly goes to the right or goes to the left. In Google Spreadsheet, you have a problem that if you put the table below this one, in Google Spreadsheet, if you need to make this column bigger, it will make this column as well bigger, even if these 2 tables are totally unrelated. So that's why I really hate Google Spreadsheet for this kind of project. But you can use Google Spreadsheets without any issues. In any case, let's use the SDA platform to build the requirements. I will write the test super quick. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time to make it on a digital paper, but we're gonna write super quickly the requirements. No, I think the typing will take too much time. I will speak it out loud. Let's say the SDA platform was built with cutting-edge technology, and it has a lot of features, but unfortunately it was hard to develop because it didn't have any project documentation. So the management decided to cancel this project and start a new development project. And the management wants to add a login page, wants to add a section for the teachers. They can add links to the application. The client also wants to have a section where people can have a video conference. Yeah, that sounds super interesting. So, okay, it sounds super interesting. So you hear a couple of information in this one, and we can start writing down the most important bullet points that we hear. So the client wants a login page. Okay. The client wants a video conference system. Wow, that sounds ambitious. The client also wants a place where the teachers can add links student material. And I have a more requirements, but for this example, we're gonna keep it simple, and we have these ones. Okay, these are business requirements because they don't have a specific details. This one is another one that is tricky. It's long, it's a little bit specific. So this can be either a business requirement or a functional requirement, but we're gonna treat these ones as a business requirements just so we can make it easier. So we're gonna start building the business requirement table. But before this one, we are gonna create a user table. The user table, and we're gonna have the client. I remember reading management, so I will change this to management. So we're gonna create a user role table. So we're gonna say ID 1, 2, 3. Let me add another one. The students should not open links that aren't supposed to be teach yet. So just so important, so I can add more people. So my first role, my first user will be the manager. The description is the person that oversees the SDA project and finances it, or get funding for it, get funding for it. There you go. This is my description. I can probably make a better description, but we are a little bit behind time. So the next one is and I forgot to follow my own rules. We need to highlight them. Yeah, sorry for this one. And by the way, if you see that I'm brought in my own rules, you are totally free to yell at me, by the way. And this is the teachers. There's another one. And this is the students. Perfect. So the teacher, and the teacher is a person that gives lectures and upload student material to the platform. And finally, we have the student role, and these are you. Yeah, I don't want to write, so I will put it like that. With this one, we move to the next stage. We're gonna make the object table. Okay. We have the login page. This is a business requirement. The page itself can be an element because a web page has multiple pages. So a particular screen on the web app. What else? A video conferencing system. A video conference, singular video conference. Conference is an object. Conference is what is the concept of a video conference? Is a video and audio call done online. It's a really bad description, by the way, but and the system is more like a module, so it's more broad. But this one is the specific element of the page here. And then the links and the student materials are the same thing. So we're gonna say this the link. Or no, we can use the student material as an object, and you will see why. Student material. A link to a learning resource. Example, the online platform, PowerPoint slides, coding exercises, videos, etc., PDF, and so on and so forth. Perfect. And we know now that these links are the study material. So we can rewrite our documentation to make it easier for us. So, okay, we go back to this one, and we have, well, we didn't organize the information that well, but if you have a really nice case study, a super long case study, 2 or 3 pages, then you start writing the bullet points like this ones. So this will be like the organized information. I remember reading a little bit more, and then I make these bullet points shorter for making it easier to understand. So, okay, We did the step number 1. We did the step number 2. Remember, we are not going to make non-functional requirements. We're going to focus only on the business and the functional requirements. So I can say that this one is organized info plus table plus user role table. We can move this one to a separate tab. In fact, yeah, user and objects. Perfect. Yeah, if we want to be super picky, we move to a different table. So each step of this PowerPoint slides will become a tab, and we're gonna move and create a new tab. This will be number 1, organize info. Number 2, and we're gonna create a new tab for the requirements. Requirements. Perfect. We're gonna create the business requirements. And we say that we need an ID, a requirement, and the roles involved and the description. Okay. Let me see. We have an ID. We have the requirement. We have the roles involved. We have the description. And let me see if I remember how many I have. A requirement is a login system. Who logs into the system? I will give you a little bit more insight about the SDA platform. When you log in as a student, let me literally open the SDA platform. And by the way, when you log in as an admin, you see this this panel. When you log in as a student at KTH, you see a totally different view than us. So we can see that, and we saw that we have admins and TAs. So we can see that who are involved are the manager, the teacher, and the students. And let me just paint these ones in different colors so it's a little bit easier to follow. I will put this one in blue, red. I will put this one in red. I will put this one in green. And we're gonna put this one in blue. So we know that we have the manager, and we saw that, by the way. Let me go back. And we have the, this is my account. So we have task only for the admins and task only for the TAs. So we have the managers, we have the TAs. Oh, we have a new role that even is not mentioned here. We, sorry, in the here, TAs, we're gonna put a new role that we just discovered, teaching us TAs. And we're gonna paint it in purple. And by the way, this is normal. It happens. Sometimes the client doesn't write a role, and then in the documents, they mention it like they know the role exists, but they don't mention to you. This is normal. It's annoying as hell, and it happens. So, but the staff that help students with doubts, and also run the mentor program. Perfect, beautiful description. So we know that we have the manager, the teacher, the students, and also the TAs. So we have the red one, the green one, the blue one, and the TAs. Oh, and by the way, I know that these lectures are taking a little bit more time than I planned. Remember that these ones are optional, so you can drop in any second, and I don't even look at the participant table. So in any case, we have the login system, we have the video conferencing system. Okay, you use the video conferencing system. This is a fun thing, cool story. Management wanted to integrate a video conference system inside the platform. We, the product owner, would say, fuck, we don't have time to do that. We are freaking busy teaching as well. So no, sir, we are not gonna do that one. So, okay, we decide that we go with Zoom. But in any case, you know that we use Zoom, and you know that the only people that use Zoom are the teacher, the students, and TAs. You will say, but Eduardo, Novare is management, and they use Zoom. Yeah, but Novare and SDA are a little bit separate. In fact, they don't use Zoom, they use Google Teams. So they are not part of our management. They're a different corporation with a different management system, a different manager. So Novara is not included in this particular platform. And Novara doesn't use this platform, so it doesn't count. So we put the student and finally the TAs as well. There you go. We also mentioned the teacher's study material. So let's say if you know WordPress or something like that, it's called WordPress is usually called content management CMS. Have you heard this this abbreviation before? Somebody tell me what is a CMS?
Content management system.
Yes.
Right, content management system. Content management system. And why adding student material is a content management system? Because sometimes a content management system is about writing articles, but in this context, remember, in this content, the student material is the content. So if you want to add, by the way, if you want to add content, we're gonna say content in the SDA platform is the student material. I know that is confusing, and I know that you're been learning Java in these last 3 weeks, and you love that in Java everything is super concrete. If else, there is no doubt. If I switch case statement, you have your case 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have a catch-all called the default. You have your error handling. In product management, everything is super ambiguous. I know it's fucking annoying, and that's why organized information is crucial. If you're not organized, you don't have the smart. You can be super smart, but if you are not organized, then project management is not for you. So let's go in. The content management system. Loading content is only for the teachers. Only then use the content management system. So this is for them. But it turns out that the students need to watch the content, because one thing is creating content, but if you're going to create content, but nobody's going to use it, then why you're going to create content in the first place? So teachers are green, sorry, teachers are green. So teachers and students use this one. And let me tell you a secret: the TAs never use this the platform for student material, so they don't touch it. So yeah, that's okay for them. And finally, we say the students don't open the link. Okay, so yeah, we covered this one. So these are the requirements that we have. We have 3 business requirements, and we're going to explain. This is the page that or the system that allows to detect if the person logged in is a student or management / teacher / TA, because we only have 2 different screens. You saw. Let me go again to the web page and we log out. And you will see that I only have 2 kinds of logins in this platform. The student sees this. Oh, and everybody else sees this. And by the way, with more time, we actually make a different screens and we block this one. We just only have a code of honor, and we tell TAs, please don't click on here, because then you will mess it up. We trust our TAs, by the way, so we don't need to have a separate system for that. In any case, this is let's put the description. A system that allows to run video conferences inside the page, without needing to install an external app like Zoom or Skype. Super ambitious, not gonna happen. And the content management system, a system that allows to add new content, study links to the platform. And if we add, edit, and remove Oh, and you also know the functionality that we have, by the way. Remove. And you know one, do you know one functionality that is special in the SDA platform? Do you know which one? Referring to the study links. Do you know that one? Can somebody raise their hands? Yes, no? There is no wrong answer?
Lock them at the deadline.
Nice one. Lock/unlock. New content. Correct. Who said that, by the way?
Me and she.
Nice attention for detail. Nice eye. Congrats. Yeah. This is a nice feature, by the way. And that was a feature, by the way, requested by Dina, because the system was working perfectly, adding links. And then she says, no, the workshop needs to be blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay, let's add this functionality. There you go. So yeah, that was this functionality was asked not by management, but by Dina itself. Yeah. But because the project is well organized, it was super easy to add. So yeah. It's okay, these are my business requirements. Now let's move to another table and start creating the, by the way, this text was so short. I will apologize for not writing the 3 pages case study, but so we're gonna start making up the requirements on the fly. So let me go back to the PowerPoint, and we know that we need these elements. I will put it here. So I need an ID. I need the business specification requirement ID. That's the abbreviation that we say. Is business requirement, but Dina writes it like that: business specific requirement. So that's why I will use Dina's numeration system, and then the requirement itself. There is no roles involved. There is no description here. So okay, we're gonna go ID 1. We're gonna say the system must show study content to the students. Oh no, the system should show only study links when the login is the log person is a student. Which one of the 3 business requirements do you believe this one belongs to?
Login system.
Somebody wants to say something contrary and defend the argument? By the way, I made a small mistake. This is super quick to fix. This is writing like that: business specific requirement 1, business specific requirement 2, business specific requirement 3. So I don't write 1 here because 1, if every single ID is 1, then it will become like a 1, but in which table? So and now we're gonna go here and modify this one as a functional requirement 1. And because nobody arguing against 1, you're right, by the way, belongs to the business specific requirement. I will literally put this one here. There you go. We can go back retroactively and user role ID, user role 1, user role 2. You get the idea. You get the idea with this one as well. Yeah. So let's write this next one. The system should show the management and TA task to the teachers, managers, and TAs. I will not even ask. I really believe that you know which one it belongs to. So, okay, this one is this one. Okay. The system should allow to unlock content before a specific date. It mentions content. Which one it is? 3.
3.
3. Everybody agrees? Somebody wants to say no? No? Okay, you're right, by the way. Content management system. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. What was the mistake I just made?
BSR3.
Right. Nice. Next one. The system must allow to add files. We can write a lot more. The system must allow to edit files. The system must allow to delete files. Again, probably. There you go. There you go. There you go. I will add 2 more. System must allow to initialize. Sorry for my grammar. Initialize. I don't butcher it. But allowed to start. It's faster that way. Start a video call from inside the web app, the web page. Of course, probably this one. And the system must allow to create modules / courses. Look at this particular word module. Dina used modules for systems, but the SDA used the word module for courses. So it will be a really nice idea. So everybody's on the same page that we can add a new object table and we say module. A module is a specific course inside the study program of the SDA. 5. And let me go back and you can see that I have another one called system. 6, sorry. A system is a specific part of the application. So this is important because in Dina's case study, system is the whole system and module is just a particular block, the 6 blocks that you have. In the SDA platform, a different project manager is using a different terminology. Annoying, right? Freaking annoying. We use modules as a course. And this, by the way, true story, when we are coding in JavaScript, module is a reserved keyword like if statement. So inside the code base of the SDA platform, we don't use the word course, the module, we use the word course, because if I use the word module, JavaScript will start throwing errors left and right. So trust me, these naming conventions is super normal that it's confusing. So you will get, at one point, you will get super used to that. Right now it's super confusing, but I will tell you that this is the bread and butter of a developer. Easy peasy. It's okay. The system was allowed to create modules of courses. Probably this one. So, okay, this is, oh, sorry, I made a mistake here. This is the functional requirement table. And this is the business requirement table. So we just completed step number 1, step number 2, and step number 3. You can see by the X, we don't need functional, non-functional requirements in this particular for the Rtn matrix. And why we don't use the non-functional requirements for the Rtn matrix? If we go to the concept definition, is that we cross-reference business requirements in order to test every single combination. The problem with that one is that, for example, we know that we need to have a space for 4 to F50. So we can cross-reference. Do the garage has a space for 2 for F50? Yes or no? It's a yes or no question. When we finish building the garage, we will ask this question. Did we build a garage with a space for 2 for F50? This is a yes or no answer. But did we build a garage that is tidy? This is very ambiguous. Tidy in relation to what? We cannot measure tidiness unless we have more information. So we cannot measure that, and we cannot measure it, then we cannot put it in the matrix. Easy peasy. And I hope that by making this table, and you can see that this table are cross-referencing these elements. You can even see that the blue element cell start to highlight. Now you can see that it's easy to see this one as a child of this one, right? Maybe that makes a little bit more, sorry, the child of this one, sorry. I just told you don't focus on this one. Makes more sense, right? That the functional requirements are child of the business requirement. Nice, I see a yes. And I promise that if I make this example first, then you will be able to make this one way easier. But I wanted to make you think and argue a little bit on purpose. No, not gonna lie, by the way, to be honest, next year I will make this example first, and then I will go with examples. But yeah, you're the beta testing of this particular optional lecture. So sorry for that one. We probably should have showcase this example first before they go to the examples. In any case, we reached this point. We have this one. We are almost finished. One more slide to go. The next step is to prioritize information according to the client's criteria. And I will add a little bit about to the client's criteria in addition to the product owner negotiation. Why? Because if you remember the case study that I showed you right about the SDA platform, you know that we don't have a video conference system installed in the platform. You know that we use Zoom. We are literally on Zoom right now. So the product owner negotiate with management and tell them we are not will not be able to finish the new platform because remember we have a different platform and we need to migrate. We will not be able to add this new functionality on time. So we need to prioritize something more. And the most important part that you use the platform for is to add the study, is to check the study links. So we prioritize that one first. And then once the study material link was done, then we create the login system first. And I will ask somebody if they want to answer. Why did we add the study links first before the login page? Can somebody tell me that one? And I will tell you a real example based on the group study of the last SDA iteration. Can somebody tell me why we prioritize the study link, the study material before the login system?
So that the the information is available for the students. You know, if you're logging into nothing, it doesn't help anyone.
Exactly. And I swear, this is not a joke. And this is, by the way, this is not a critique to my previous students. I really, really appreciate them. But in the group project, one group literally spends the first sprint in Agile. We will not go into details of what is the group project about. But in any case, they spend the first sprint making a login system. And I swear that when they showcase the sprint demo, they showcase the login, and then they literally went to a white page with a black and white web page, literally with the web page in the black letters saying home screen. That's it. And I told them, do you think that this brings value? I will not say what was the topic of the group project, so because I don't want that you preparing in advance, but let's say that was a charity. It was not a charity, by the way, but let's say there is a page about a charity to collect money to help people. Imagine that you have a charity with a login system and then nothing. They doesn't bring any value at all. Even just showing a page of what is the vision and the mission of the charity page will bring more value than a freaking login system. So a nice project manager will fight against the client and will order the criteria based on what the skills and the skills of the development team and what the product owner really believe that brings more value. So the next step is to prioritize information. Then we make the test cases. And what are test cases? It's simple. I don't have a concept here. I have an example. In a login system, we need to make all the combinations possible, all the things that can happen and can go wrong. What happens if you don't put your email? That's an example. What happens if you don't put your password? What will happen? What will happen with both? And again, I will use an example, a real example from beforehand. Did anybody have a problem when you create the SDA platform account? Like, for example, you didn't know what was activation code for, or make a mistake and write an incorrect value there? Did anybody make that mistake? Don't worry, it's not something bad. I just want to ask if somebody make that mistake. Yes, no? Everyone.
I'm joking.
It's valid, it's valid, it's valid. But I really want to know if somebody actually made that mistake and want to tell us the experience. What happens when they put a different incorrect value in the create an account page? Wow, nobody made a mistake. That's awesome, to be honest. I'm super happy for that. In any case, I will tell you, if you put an incorrect activation code, it will just show a pop-up telling you that the activation code is invalid. Thus, you cannot create an account with the SDA. Please contact CC Risco for more information. And I swear that the last part, contact CC Risco, is a real message. In the previous page, in the previous platform, it will create an account in the database with the email as an identifier. But because the activation code is invalid, it will not allow you to log in. And it will not show any error message. So when you try to put the correct activation code, the system will crash and will not tell any message at all. Why it was crashing? Because you already created an account, but you never created an account because the first time the activation code was invalid and it will never get a message. So that's why you create test cases. So you can start thinking and planning ahead and say, okay, if this problem happens, how we are going to solve it? If you skip this step in a real management project, you will have the problem that we have with the previous platform. And because there was no documentation at all, trust me, we tried to solve the problem because it's super important, because everybody was making mistakes. But we didn't know where the hell was the code for the login system, I swear. So that was again a case to start a new project again. So I giving you real examples of what happens when you skip this step and you go directly to code. And finally, the last step, to be honest, is super easy. If you just follow steps number 1 to 5, it's super easy to do the RTM. And instead of explaining what the RTM, I will make an example right now. It's okay. Based on the examples that you can see, based on the examples that you can see here, let's add a new column for priority. There you go. Priority. We're going to use numbers from 1 to 10. 10 is higher, 1 is lower. Based on what we just talked about, we are going to say that definitely there is no conference system in the SDA platform, so definitely this is not a priority. And we just spoke that the content management system, Nicolas said that is super important. So we're going to get the most important priority. And then the login system will fall something in the middle. There you go. Now we can sort out our requirements based on priority. There you go. Perfect. And now that we have these ones, it means that we can start prioritizing our functional requirements as well. You can add a column as well to add the cross-reference, but right now, due to time, I will just see which ones are related to the files, to the business requirements 2, these ones, and I will put them first. Sorry. So we know that we're going to start coding these functional requirements first. So far, so good. Any questions so far about we are making step number 4? Any questions? Yes, no? No. Let's move on. Perfect. Now it's time to create test cases. And how do we create a test case? Okay, this is a new table. We're going to create number 4, test case. Test case. Not gonna lie, I have another monitor and I will copy paste all the fields. I will update the slides so we can have these columns. I will explain the columns, of course. And as I mentioned before, I will add these columns to the slides before I share it with you. And we're gonna make just 3 examples because we are running super late. We know that we're gonna prioritize business requirement specific, business specific requirement number 2. And we just tell that we are gonna do just, be honest, I will only make 1, because once you learn how to do 1, you know that you just need to do the same examples with these other 3. So we're gonna focus only on this one, and this particular one. So I will copy this. Sorry?
Sorry, is it not business requirement 3? Sorry, it just looks like there's a mismatch between the table. I know we're late, but.
Yeah, but it's login system is okay. Yes, let me see. You're right. Yeah, let me see if you're right or not.
No, I think you've just labeled it, maybe.
Let me see.
Because it's 3.
Is it number 3? The content management system. You're right. Right. We are gonna prioritize these ones. You are totally right, Nicholas.
Sorry. Okay.
No. Sorry. You are totally right. So. Okay, we are going to use this one. I will delete this one because it's wrong. We're going to use this one. The system must allow me to add files. And let me see maybe why in this case, I think that the numbers are moving because because of the cross-reference. So now you learn a small trick. Hard code your elements. I can do this one in Excel. We copy and paste from the results. So they will not change anymore. There you go. Now it's totally 100% fixed. Thank you. So we're gonna make this one. So the system must allow to add files. You probably by checking the module contents. Let me go to software engineering and let me check a preview. You see that the document has a title. Of course, has a link. It has an icon. You can see that the color actually, if you actually have a good eye, you can see that the color is not is always the same by. Oh, this is a bug. Yeah, we're gonna fix it. This is what happens when you do it. When you don't do the test cases, by the way, you start making bugs. So this is the fault of the project manager, by the way. We're gonna blame the project manager in this one. Okay, so you can see the documents are blue. The slides because Microsoft Word documents are blue. And this is usually PDF or Word files. You can see, or Google Doc files. You can see the slides are PowerPoint files always, so they are orange. Videos always linked to YouTube, so it's red. The workshops are purple because, to be honest, we were running out of colors. And green because evaluation is super far-fetched. That if you are green, you did a good project. You are good to go. Green to go, good to go. It's a play with the colors. But these 3 at least actually make sense. Word, Google Docs, PowerPoint slides, YouTube videos. So you know there is a title, an icon, and a link, and the unlock date. So we need to say test case number 1 related to the I will not do the business requirement number 3 related to the functional requirement number 4. Number 4, remember, and we're gonna say that we're gonna test successful file add. This will be my case. We're gonna test that we can add a link in the platform. And if we are successful, that means that we can also be unsuccessful. Unsuccessful. Let me just copy and paste. Unsuccessful file add. And why? There is multiple reasons why the file can fail. It can fail because we didn't add a link, because we didn't add a link. Do you believe that that the system will should allow a teacher to add an icon without a link? Maybe because he will say, yes, I will do it later. I will do it later. There is no problem. Do you believe that the system should allow that? Yes or no?
No.
No. Yeah, because people can forget. So we really need to enforce with an error message that you should do that. So let me see, by the way, I cannot guarantee you that right now that we have that in place. We probably should have it. But let me try this one. Optional lecture. Actually, it will go into slides. Optional lecture queue. There is no link. I will say, I will put it later. Don't worry, guys. I will say that the unlock date it will be tomorrow, Feb 25. Let me see what happens. You can see a message. We cannot add links because we need to add this link. So we have an unsuccessful case because we cannot add a link. So perfect. Let's see it. What are the steps to actually add a file? So let me just reload it. Load. Let me add a quick link so you can see a successful case. I will do a little example later. www.google.com. I will put an icon for a folder, external platform. I will say that the unlock this file is tomorrow, Feb 25. It's added, and if you preview it, there you go, it appears. So this is a successful case. So did you see what we needed to in order to add a successful file? What were the steps? But can you people say it out loud, or we can go faster?
Yeah, we had some conditions.
Which ones?
We had to enter a title, a link.
Add title, one. Add link, right? Don't worry, you don't need to memorize. Choose an icon.
Yeah, and
Release date.
The date, the unlock date. By the way, I will not go into details, but if you leave the field empty, it will be unlocked by default. And what was the last step?
Add link.
The add link was step number 2.
A click button.
Yeah, click.
Add one, click button. By the way, I know that the button said add link, but if we're going to be developers and we are fighting against ambiguity, the correct title will be click the button main string. Oh, sorry. Add link, because one thing is add link as an action, and one other thing is add link as a name. Confusing, right? But you will get used to that. Data is simple. Data is, I will say, example. I don't know why Dina used the word data. It's so unfriendly. Data means give me one example of each field in order to complete the steps. I will say, number 1, optional lecture. I'm all putting a string so we can actually play with the JavaScript elements. Optional lecture 2. The link, it could be, for example, www.google drive gdrive.com/share/blah. You know they're super weird, these links. You get the idea. And it actually becomes a link. Nice. The unlock date can be add a successful. Let me put this one, by the way. Successful, just to make it complicated. Unlock file, and then we're gonna make another successful log file. Now you can see that one. And to a successful leave the date field empty and choose any icon. I put any because literally there is no problem. In fact, if you don't choose an icon at all, it will choose a default one. So there you go. So that means that this is optional. Perfect. And we can say optional. And the expected result. What do you think that is the expected result?
A new file added.
Where?
The content management system.
I will say the module, but you were there. You were there. A new file is added to a module. Into parentheses, course. Because we are using the content management system, by the way. But don't worry, it was super nice. And because we want to know that this is a successful one, we're gonna, this is not obligatory, but this is a good practice, by the way, painted in a light green, because then you will see the cases, which ones, by just by checking the color, you can see which ones fail and which ones succeed. So let's create this one, the TSS number 2. Again, it's connected to the business requirement number 3. Well, no worries, we're about to finish. Related to the functional requirement number 4, and we say successful file added, but lock it. I will copy this one. Can somebody tell me which data needs to change in order to change for this scenario for this one?
Number 4.
Number 4, the unlock date. Okay. And what do we need to do? Give me an example of the data to make it change the change.
You have to give an example of a date.
Yeah, but give me a specific example.
Oh, like just an example? Yeah, like today's date.
Okay, so, and I will put 24, something like that.
No, you have to be tomorrow, at least.
Okay, valid, tomorrow. If we have more time, we actually want to play around one. What happens if you put a backward date? That will be a nice case that you can actually implement in the system. But for now, let's make it easier. We'll put a future date. Okay. So yeah, I want us to differentiate between the step, the unlock date, and a specific data or example that you fit to the system. So remember, a step is the unlock date, and the data or example is a specific example. Give me a concrete example, February 25. There you go. And the result is, what is the expected result?
A new file is added to the module, but it can be opened, cannot be opened.
And that's the key difference. A new file is added to the module, but I will put this one, but cannot be opened. I probably make a mistake here. And this is a tricky question. Is this a successful result or an unsuccessful result, and why?
Successful.
But the students cannot open the link.
But if you look at the case, that's, what does it say?
Yeah. Successful file added but not locked. Then you are right. It meets the criteria. So you're right. The file was added. That was a success. And as the title said, this was something that I really wanted you to think about. The file was successful, but it's locked. And we put a link. It doesn't matter that the student cannot open it, because that's not my problem right now. My problem is that the thing was added to the platform and was locked. In fact, it will be a failure case. Imagine that if I can click here, then it will be a failure because that's what the lock is for. So congratulations, this is a success case. And I will paint it with the same green. So let's create the last one. You will make it, by the way. You want to make it. Somebody quickly. Everybody wants to go home. Just what do we write here?
TC3.
TC underscore 3. No, I'm being picky. I'm fucking around. Don't worry. TC3.
That's it.
Related to
ESR3.
Underscore.
related to which functional requirement? FR4. And we already created the title. Unsuccessful file added because we did not add a link. So what are the steps in order to make the process fail?
1, 3, 4, 5.
No, but please say it out loud. Number 1.
Add title.
Number 2.
Choose icon.
Nice. I really wanted to see somebody mess it up and said add link. Choose an icon. And it's choose an icon is and, no and icon. Perfect. Number 3.
Unlock date.
Date, yeah. If we can be picky, by the way, we can fail with or without unlock date. Then
we can also add a broken link.
What?
Can we add a broken link, like with the link which doesn't work?
Beautiful question. Congratulations. Right now the system doesn't validate that. But if you are working, for example, with a bank or something that requires super specific, strict control, then we can add a specific case that validates if the link is a valid URL or not. And by the way, you can do that with something called a regex, but we don't have it in the platform, that one. But beautiful questions. If you really need a super secure system, you can do that.
What did you say it was called, Eduardo?
Regex.
Okay.
Regex allows you to write patterns. For example, the patterns to usually links it starts with HTTP : but there is also the pattern HTTPS. There is also www. Blah 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 blah. You know. So Regex allows to detect these particular pieces of data inside a string, and you can validate that one. So click the button like link. Yeah. And because this case is similar to this one, and everybody wants to go home, we just delete this one. And expected result is, what was the expected result? Do you remember for the platform? Sorry, what?
Failed test.
Failed test? No, failed test means that I will paint it red. Okay, I give you that part. You're right. But what was expected result? What
Please
happened?
add the
I'll
link.
not add it.
Please add the link.
That one, the second one. A message saying, please add the link. Prevent us to add the link. There you go. Congratulations, you just finished the test case. And if you want to work, you're probably tired, but if you want to practice before the workshop, you can start adding the, well, but as you can see, by the way, each single functional requirement spans at least 3 ones. And by the way, you know that somebody said we can add one more in case we want to check that the link is actually a real link. So as you can see, you can add almost an infinite amount of links. How much do you need today? You need to do? There is a nice phrase. Is It's add links until the fear to make a mistake becomes a boredom, because at the beginning you are fearful to make mistakes. When you add the 1, 2, or 3, you're making sure that you are making mistakes. By the time that you add the test case number 10, 11, 15 for the same business requirement, sorry, for the same functional requirement, you will be fucking bored. So do until fear turns into boredom. So yeah. So then you will need to move to TC4, business specific requirement 3 again, and then you move to the next one, to the 4, and then you add a couple ones, maybe 2 or 3, and then you move to the next one here, and so on and so forth. A nice exercise to do this. Finally, we finished step number 4. We're about to finish. Sorry, we did 4, and this is the 5. This will be the 5. But let's do the Rtn matrix. This is super fast. Don't worry about this one. Rtn. On the Rtn, simple. Status. I will give you one more here. Status, and status will be a check mark. In Google Sheets, you don't have the checkbox, but you can just put true, false, or just no. It's the same thing. So we go with the test case ID. Let me copy this table. Put it here so we can visualize it, and we don't go back and forth. So we say TCR1 related to the business requirement 3, related to the functional requirement number 4, and then have we done the test cases, by the way? Oh, by the way, and this is something I made a mistake. Sorry. Let me go back. I will. Sorry. You just write until here. Until here. Until here. Then you write these ones. And once you add the data, because you need to write the data, then you do the expected result. And then once you have done these 2 last columns, sorry, that was a mistake. Once you do these 2 last columns, you mark the check mark. We know that we are make the combination possible. We know that we are gonna know what to expect in this one. So because otherwise this table makes no fucking sense. So sorry about that one. We should have done these ones like this, and then fill this one. Sorry, until the steps. But sorry, we should have done. I cannot clean up the links. We should have done this one. Once we've done it, we write the expected results, and then we do the check mark. And then for the next one, TCR2, copy paste. You know that are the same ones. I write something. I write the expected result. Then I will say that the result is positive, green, or red. Once it's done, regardless if it's green or red, you just write this one, do the check mark, and so on and so forth until you finish everything. Somebody, I will stop sharing because we just finished the table. Somebody raise a hand. Go ahead. Who raised first?
Yeah.
I will.
Is there a reason you called it business specific requirements for the ID, but you didn't use the term specific anywhere else?
Specific, sorry, where? Business? Oh.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but you can see that BSERR. Okay, this is a small mistake. Specific requirement. Specific requirement. Yeah, the reason being is that I've been taught to just write business requirement, but Dina uses business specific requirement. For example, if you check in this one, it says business requirement, functional requirement. So to be honest, before coming to Sweden, I never used business specific requirement. I use business requirement. So I'm used to write business requirements, but okay, we want to be formers and we want to follow Dina's approach, right? Business specific requirements, and let me go back to the slides.
Okay.
Business specific requirements, yeah, but yeah, you get the idea. Okay, that was a typo.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. And any other questions?
You forgot to say underscore a few times.
Okay, so, okay, for real, if there is no more questions, then I think everybody's tired and we can wrap it up for today. And I will upload the video as soon as it's done. But I will take one more question because I know that some people speak a lot and some people are super quiet. So I really want somebody that never asks questions to ask a question. This is the perfect time.
Hi.
Perfect. Hi.
I think in the test case scenario, we can add the expected result and actual result.
Here, the expected result. Here, oh, sorry. Let me share the screen again.
Okay.
Here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. If it is fail, suppose we have thought the expected result will be success.
Can you go again? Sorry.
If we think here we have thought expected result will be file added to a module. But if a bug came and it not failed, it was failed.
This one.
Yeah. No, first one. Something bug came and it was failed.
But this is the important part. Let's remove this one, and it's okay. This is why I really wanted that people ask these questions. So let's forget for 1 second the locking and unlocking, and just focus on you can either add files or not add files. So we only have these two combinations. Are we agree on that part? We'll forget about the unlocking date for 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the important part. In the platform, if you copy and paste this information, the system should work as a green case always. If you pass these 4 elements, the platform should work always as this always. If you add this one time and then you add it a second time and it make an error, that means that your platform has a super big bug, because once computers are supposed to be machines that never make mistakes. So if you feed the same information, literally optional lecture 2, Google Drive / blah, 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 and leave the date empty, and you choose the same icon over and over again, you should expect the same result over and over again, because machines never fail. If it fails, it means that you failed as coding. I don't know why, and there is techniques for that. There's unit testing, test-driven development, and that's super outside the topic of this project management, because remember, we are not coding, we are project managers, but you should leave the information all the time. And the same with this case. If you forget to add the link 100 times, it will show the system you should fail 100 times. If one iteration allows to put the link, the icon, the study material, sorry, without a link 1 time, that means that you have some problem in your code that is super, super bad. Super bad. So that's important. It's more clear now?
Yes, thank you.
Don't worry. So super quick. Another last question, or then we wrap it up. By the way, you can quit without saying goodbye. We just close the windows. But if there is no more questions, then I will wrap it up right now. Make a toast next time that I say wrap it up. Thank you for having the patience, and see you tomorrow. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Eduardo. Bye.